Good afternoon, guys and gals. It's been a couple of days since the last time that I created a video bringing you a couple of ideas, opinions, or whatever you want to call it. But today, I want to bring a video extremely simple and quick, to be honest. I want to show you a couple of ideas of a couple of trades that I took, actually two trades that I took on last week on Friday. And I want to make it quick to show you what I was thinking and the reason why I took those trades. All right. And so coming into the market on Friday, notice BBIG rolling high. I can't remember the exact news that he had, but here's the thing. I saw it ramping up. I had already made my watch list. I like to create a watch list the prior day coming into the market, and then depending on what's happening, depending on what kind of news and the things that are happening in the morning, I try to find one, maybe two names, three names to add to my list. But I like coming into the market with some preparation. So I saw BBIG, I put it on one of the windows, and I tried to keep an eye on it to see what was happening and how the price was going to react. If you notice right here, we had a high on the pre-market. I like to put trend lines, yellow trend lines for the intraday levels and white trend lines for the daily levels. Keep an eye on them, and so I have an idea of how far the price will end up going before he pulls back or finds support and all that kind of stuff. So coming into the market right after the open, it started to have this consolidation right on top of the view app, but then I noticed that when he failed, so I kept an eye on it, and I had it for a long trade. I kept an eye on the tape, and I started to see how it started to print a bear flag formation on the 1 minute. But on this 1 minute dropping down, if you look at right here, it found a base, and I saw this base here pretty close to the low of this 1 minute candle right when it dipped right out of the gates. So notice that there was this base here, because although it dipped, it didn't really have follow through, right? So it dipped and it came right back up to close the candle right here, and then we had a floor, one, two, several candles in the same spot. So I noticed that there was a level of accumulation there, and so what I was waiting for was a reclaim of the view app for a long trade, and I slapped it, right? So I took a long trade, but I failed, to be honest. I didn't follow through all the way with this one, although it worked better than I thought it was going to. I slapped it when it came up and then came down to retest. This is one of the things I don't try to anticipate the move. I try to make it at times. The worst thing that can really happen to you is that you miss the entry because it doesn't come back and just ramps up, and at times it can even get halted and you miss your entry. But here's the thing, I like to see it reclaim the spot, come back down to retest the place and hold out support, and then keep going. And so right here it reclaimed, it came up pretty close to the high of this candle of 397, coming to the whole lot of level 398 high right here on this one, pulled back and came to the view app, but it held, coming right back up. So I slapped it. But if you look at right here, looking towards the left, we got a 415 and 415 right here. So I felt very uneasy. I took a trade when he reclaimed the view app right here, and if you look at the view app, it was sitting at 391. So I slapped it around 395, if I'm not mistaken, came right back up, but it had a retest of the prior highs looking towards the left. It didn't break that resistance, pulled back, and I felt like it was not really going to follow through, and I exited the exit the trade for a really little gain. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm getting a little kind of mixed up today. I'm sorry. So it came down, retest. I was no longer involved with this one and came right back towards the prior high here on the pre-market highs. Broke it up to 437, pardon me. And then started to hover right here. You can see on the 5 minutes. Came down, dipped, come right back up, but I was no longer involved. Thing is that I took this trade and I wanted to share this thing with you so you can take advantage of those type of opportunities. But ATOS is the second name that I traded. Here's the idea. I wanted to take a long trade on this one, and I saw it coming, but I started to think when I was thinking about taking this long trade, I noticed how it was hovering around the BUAP. Many of you guys know that I like shorting a lot. Don't blame me for it. I'm sorry. I'm just here for the opportunities. And so the problem with that long trade is that we didn't hold here, right? So I also, the first time it held, it looked pretty well because the BUAP right here, you can see it's 464. So if you take a long trade when it bounced the first time around, you end up taking at least 30 cents on this push, right? But the thing is that second time he came here, made a bear flag pattern, came down and followed through to the downside because it didn't hold. So the problem with that is that here I was waiting for, again, the reclaim, come down, retest, and then bounce again. Because again, at times you can miss the trade because it moves right back up and it doesn't come back down to pull back and retest the level for that support, and you might end up missing the trade because it doesn't come back to do so. But if you anticipate as well as missing the upside, if you anticipate the break and you take the trade right away, chances are that it can also come right back up to a prior high. And if you look at this candle 480 and right here the 479, so by a penny, if it does not break and if it comes down and it doesn't hold support, chances are it's going to fade. Now the thing is that I saw this one coming up, so I went to check the news real quick. I wanted to see why it was actually moving high, because there was no short sale restriction on this one and there was share available. And so I saw an opportunity, but I wanted to see how great the news were before I tried to slap with anything. And so what I noticed was that this stock was moving, and according to Vincenga, there was no news for this move. So it was moving with nothing holding the price. There was no good news making the price of stock go up. So I figured, okay, keep an eye on it. It came down and retest the prior areas on the BUAP, but it didn't hold that support. If you look right here, we got a ceiling, right, by a penny. So when it came down, said, well, the first time it dipped, come back up, but if it dips again, I'm gonna let it come right back up, retest, and fade. So I took a trade, and the BUAP was a 74 if I'm not mistaken, at 475 right there, and I slapped it at 472. I shared this idea with the people on the Discord. I didn't really share it real time, right? But then I told the guys, and if anybody wants to do that, they can. It's totally free. I'm not gonna. There's no sales pitch, so you can come and share ideas with us if you want to. But I was talking about it. I say I slapped it. I shorted at 472, risking the area of the BWAP because it came down. If you look at right here, it came up, retest, and then follow through. The funny thing is on this 5-minute candle, look at how it started to come down really slow, and all of a sudden now then it just flushed down towards the 22 area. This 5-minute candle, this 1-minute candle right here was the one that flushed down so hard, and it went from a low. Let me see. Yeah, I'm a little mistaken here. This is not the candle. There you go. This is the candle. Now this candle flushed from 456. Look at this $0.50, pretty close. 450 bounce, coming down. $0.50, whole dollar areas are areas of support and resistance. So it came down, right back up. People covered around the 450, $0.50, came back because of people were covering, and then slam back down under the 450. That support, that floor went away, and once it went away, it just flushed down so quick to 422. I covered half, and then I was holding half, came right back up, and then faded again after it came up towards the BWAP. Now the funny thing is that I was actually expecting this not to work the way that it worked, right? So I was expecting, because the flush was so high, that I was expecting it to come right back up, print a bear flag pattern formation, and then come right back down to the 422. It didn't happen the same way, but I held that half all the way to the BWAP, back up again. I started noticing how the candles started to print smaller and smaller candles, and the volume was actually dying out on the long side. So I figured this stuff is going to roll over, and that's exactly what happened. Came down, then printed a bear flag pattern formation right here, but he found a floor, started to accumulate, and came right back up on top of the 455 that we had as our prior level. So I stepped out. It was close to midday. I want to take a lunch break, and I didn't want to hold it anymore. But I'm looking. The reason why I wanted to bring you this video is just to show you an idea on how sometimes you see a stock moving, and if there's any news on it, great. But if there's no news, there's really no reason for the stock to be moving. You can get into a trap. Now for a short, is a great opportunity, because if there's no news really holding the price up, what it means is that at some point whatever comes up gotta come right back down, right? So I just wanted to share that idea with you here today. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Happy trading, and I will see you next time.